notices, agendas and letter writing. Okay, so we'll be talking about what are the notices, and where do we use agendas, and what are the different types of letter. So this types of letter will be a separate lecture. I don't think so I will be able to finish by today, but there are different topics and types of letter. There are some optional things that are there, and some are very mandatory. That means you have to have those things in the letter. Okay, that means they are mandatory parts of the letter. So going ahead with the notices, let's talk about notices. You know that notice is given in advance. For anything that happens, you always read a notice and then you go there, right? So it is telling you about the holding of a meeting or something that is going to happen in the future. Now the main aim of the notice is to ensure that all those people who will be attending, they get all the necessary information about the notice, and also in case they have to take part in some meeting, they have to present anything, so they are prepared with their homework. It actually helps them in discussing the agendas of the meeting extensively and constructively, because notice is given in advance. You know what is going to happen. So in case you have to go and consult some material, you have to have the photocopies of some relevant documents with you as a proof, or you want to show, or you want to talk on that, so you will be ready with that. So notices are given in advance. You may go to archives, you may go to public libraries, so that you have all those relevant material which you want to discuss in a meeting. So a notice is given in advance so that everybody is prepared. Okay, now for instance, when you are writing a notice, it has to be just the exact minimum number of words. You don't have to have a flowery language over there. Here notice is hereby given that. No way. You just write directly, this is the notice given that blah blah blah, to convey or this or convey that. Okay, so it's always better to drop those unnecessary words in a notice. Only that information which is crucial has to be there in the notice. No extra words. Okay, so you now understood that notice will limit your number of words that you are using. So first of all, what are the essential of a notice? When you are writing a notice, definitely you want to tell which department you have has issued this notice, or which company has issued this notice. So the first is the name of the organization, which is very crucial, because otherwise what will happen? If notice is issued on the letterhead of the organization, then you don't have to separately mention the name of the organization, because by default it is understood that this notice has come from that department, that letterhead, because letterhead may your company's name or the department's name is already mentioned. For example, a notice is issued by Khalsa College or a Guru Nanak College. So if it is written on the letterhead, then it is by default it is understood that it is from there. Okay, now if you don't have the access to the letterhead of the department or an organization, then what you will do, on the top of it you will write the name of the organization, because it is very important, right? Otherwise what will happen? Those who are getting the notice, they will get confused. They will not be able to attend the meeting. It is not clear to them who is inviting them to the meeting. Okay, who is going to subside the as a host, right? Now next part of the notice, which is very important, is to tell the venue, where to attend the meeting, right? If you are not telling that, where will all those people gather? So venue is very important, because it is going to the common place where everybody who has received the notice, they will all gather. So for example, in the AC hall or the 4th floor or whichever place, in the conference hall. So the venue is very important part of the notice, because if venue is missing, so it is not going to serve the purpose. Okay, and the participant will run her helter-skelter from one place to another and not been able to be at the place where they are required to be, or they will have to call the person. If they know them personally, they will have to call where we have to meet, what is the venue. So it is going to take a lot of time, energy of the person who is holding the meeting. Then also he will be wasting his or her time in answering those calls that the meeting is in the conference hall, or the meeting is in the fourth floor or sixth floor, whatever. So that, to avoid all these things, it's always, please recheck your notice that you have written the venue clearly. Okay, then not only that, date and time should be clearly mentioned, otherwise again same type of confusion will occur. Okay, and if you are keeping the meeting on Sunday, then also you have to specifically tell them that the meeting is on. You can highlight it, or you can put it in the bold letters or make it bold so that it can be seen clearly, the day. Because first of all, day is important for them, for everybody to understand when is the notice. Okay, though if it is an official meeting, why I said ki if it is a Sunday, then you have to put it on the bold, because most of the organizational meetings, they happen in the weekdays. But sometime, because of some reason, if you are putting it on a holiday, so it has to come across very clearly that it is on a Sunday, right? So it has to be very, very clearly mentioned, time also. Now, what is the purpose of the meeting? It is also important why you are conducting that meeting. That is called the agenda. Okay, now let's go ahead. And what is the nature of the meeting? It's very important to mention the notice, in the notice, that whether your meeting is a annual journal meeting, extraordinary journal meeting, or a routine meeting, or if it is an urgent meeting called on certain circumstances. Okay, so this helps the participant to prepare their questionnaires, prepare their, in case they have some questions to ask or some doubts they have, they can be ready with that, rather than sitting as a silent spectator and listening to the person. It's better that there should be participation in the meeting. So once they are well informed and in advance they have been told, so they will know this is the meeting, and so we can discuss these points. If they have any confusion, those confusion will be cleared. All right, now date of the notice. So when the notice is issued, one is the date when the meeting is going to happen but when the notice is issued, that day is also very important, because always a notice has to be given in advance. So mentioning the date on which day it has been issued is very mandatory, because otherwise it will not be clear as how many days before the meeting the notice has been issued. Because if the meeting is going to happen tomorrow, and if you are sending the notice today, so most of the participants will not be able to present themselves in the meeting. At least they will be able to say ki we were not given proper time, we were not well informed in advance. So it has to be 4 or 5 days before, and before the due date there has to be a reminder. Okay, most of the time I have seen that a notice is always given 15 days in advance. Okay, so this period is given so that participant can study the agenda, they can prepare themselves for the discussion, for which he may have to bring in some material from the archives or the libraries or from their own data. Okay, next is signature. That means it's very important who is the signatory of the who has sent this notice. Ending a notice with the phrase by order is also used, so but it's important that somebody who takes the onus, he has to write his name, that this notice has been sent by this person, because in its absence it is just a piece of paper and nobody will take it seriously. At least write a signature, if it is by the principal but your head of department is sending that notice, so you may write by order principal, and you can sign head of department के उसमें you can sign that this I am sending this notice on behalf of by order principal. Okay, so these are the important essential parts of a notice. Now this is a sample notice I have given you. This is it's a notice of a company. So on the right hand side you can see the whole detail. Okay, their email address, their fax number, their mobile number, everything is given. Then though this notice is written on a letterhead, you can see there is a logo of the company which is on the left hand side. Okay, SCRUMINCPNG, but still on the top of it you must have seen that there's the name of the company. As I said, it's very important to write the name of the company. They could have avoided it also because it's already written on the letterhead, but it is always a good rule to go by the go and write the email notice of the name of the organization. Sorry. Okay. Okay, now you can see here the name of the organization is very well mentioned. Okay, now here they have also given purpose of the meetings very clearly. This is the purpose of the meeting. Okay, so underlined thing is actually the in bold letters why they have written, so that itna padke if it concerns you then you will read ahead. Okay, if it does not concern you, you may skip the whole thing. Why they use these types of bold letters on the in the meeting, in the notice of the meeting, so that it's basically serves as a subject line. If it does not concern you, you may skip the whole thing. Alright, now the annual journal meeting of this company will be held on Monday, February this in the boardroom at the lane. This, see, everything is clearly given. Time, day, date, this. Okay, now time will be given somewhere else. You will have to see, otherwise it is of no use. See, time is given. Okay, venue is given in the boardroom at the International Hotel. Okay, meeting to commence at 19 hours and all the members are welcome to attend. Agenda of the meeting is also given so that you are well prepared, right? Yahan pe signature is also there, signatory. All right, understood? So these are the 10 points of agendas which will be discussed in the meeting. So in case like journal business. In case you have any meeting closed, when the meeting gets closed, that time the queries are taken in. So you may prepare your questionnaire, you may ask your doubts, anything that is related to your whatever concerns you. All right, so with this we finish the notice part. You can take the screenshot of a notice because it is very important and there will be a question, and I'm sure this time your exams are going to be offline and they will not be MCQ as I guess. So you will have to write all these things, notices, emails, and so be prepared. It is not going to be as easy as the first semester. All right, here you will be really judged on your writing skills. Let's go to the next topic, which is agenda. Now what is an agenda? It's basically list of items. Just now we saw this was the agenda. Agenda is as follows. यहाँ पे लिखा है ना? So it is a part of the notice. Actually, it is a part of a meeting. So this notice is for a meeting. So in case you have been invited to a meeting, definitely there has to be, they always follow an agenda, because without that the meeting will go haywire. There is nobody to look after. Any point can come anytime, so there has to be an agenda all the time. So generally the first item on an agenda is to read and pass the minutes of the previous meeting. So if there is a meeting related to the online or offline classes which has happened 15 days before, prior to this date. So whatever was discussed in that meeting, they are read. They are called the minutes of the meeting. They are read before starting the second meeting on the same topic. So then follows other items which are listed according to their importance. Okay, the agenda must precede the center signature, and I will show you a sample agenda which says that reading the minutes of the previous meeting is very important. Then allocation of funds to various departments, then setting sales target for this is for a organizational meeting, that means for a company. Okay, so these agenda can be different for a college, these agendas can be different for schools, these agendas can be different for NGOs. So don't have to worry, accordingly you will change it. Okay, now rethinking your recruitment policy, this may be different also. So opening 2 or more production unit, just in case the company is thinking in that term, so you can add that. Action taken on issues taken in the previous meeting. So what action happened, what actions were taken after the previous meeting, because meeting aise kar liya, now also we have discussed and we found that we should do this, but were the action taken and what were the result, they have to be discussed in the next meeting. Okay, now fixing the date of the next meeting in case there is a need. So in this meeting only you will have to fix the date and time, and after that notice is sent. No doubt about that, but fixing of the date, at least tentative date is fixed in by consulting all the participants in case it is a small group. So it's always taken care that all of which date will be good for the next meeting. Don't we do that whenever we have for example, even if it is a yoga session or something, so we can talk like, okay, the next meeting will be on the next Sunday. So in case most of the people say no, next Sunday is Diwali, we won't be able to come, so that is discussion which is very important, and that happens in the end of the agenda, after end of the meeting. So at least people who are organizing the next meeting, they get to know that these people, so many people will not be available in case we fix the meeting on the next Sunday. So it's better to discuss that. So the next meeting, definitely they will not keep next Sunday, maybe next to next Sunday, and that also is the vote is taken from the group, all those people who are attending the meeting. Got it? Now let's go to the letter writing. There are different parts of a letter, they're very important. Why? Parts of a letters ऐसे ही नहीं लिख सकते हैं, they have to be in a very very nice manner. One is a mandatory thing. Mandatory means there are so many things that you have to keep no matter what. These are very very important, you can't skip them. These are called mandatory parts. So what are those? They are, first is your head address, you cannot escape that. Second is your date line. Now head address is also known as the sender's address. Okay, I will write it here because बच्चों को कभी कभी confusion हो जाता है what is meant by head address. Where is my pen? Okay, sorry. So it means sender's address. Alright, now date line. When we are talking about date line, try to make it like what is the date today? Today is 21st, isn't it? Today is 21st or 20th, I don't even remember. 21st. Okay, so we'll be writing date like this. Okay, never write the date like this, 21 to 20, okay, 22. Okay, don't write it this way. Why? Because sometimes there is no problem in this type of date, but then there is an American way of writing date wherein the first sometime, for example, if it is not 21, if it is some for example, if it is 11 to 22, so there always can be confusion whether this is 11th is the month or 11th is the date, right? So the best way to rule out that confusion is write 11th Feb. So nobody will have the confusion because Feb, it is mentioned clearly. Now here we can have the date 2nd of November. This can also be in some countries they may call it as 11th November, or it can be also 2nd Feb. So both the dates there will be a confusion. We don't want to land up into confusion, right? So it's the best way is 11th Feb 2022. You understood what I meant? Now I am going to erase everything from here. Now next point is the inside address. That means it is your address. Senders यहाँ पे तो था ना head address. Okay, receiver's address. That means जहाँ पे जिसको आपने भेजा है, this is sender's address. And then next point is the inside address. That is also called receiver's address. Who is receiving this mail? Okay, got it? So it must contain his name, name of the company to whom the letter is sent, his designation or her designation, name and full office address. Okay, and you have to write MS if the receiver is a female, or MR if the receiver is the MR or MS. ठीक है, MS for a female and MR for a male person who is receiving the. So this is very important. Why? This comes in the salutation. Actually, salutation is customary to address a person because you have to show respect. Okay, but that does not mean that you have to keep on calling respected sir, respected madam, dear sir. So there is nothing wrong in addressing your parent as dear mama, papa. Okay, but when you are writing an informal letter, you will not write these things. Okay, try to say Mr. this, Miss this, because now you have entered a corporate world where you have to be very formal. You cannot be informal and write dear all this unless you are very close to that person, or unless you are writing a informal letter to that person. Okay, next important point is the body of the letter. This is very important. This forms the content of the letter and should be kept very short, to the point. Okay, because nowadays nobody has lot of time to read and everything. If you are going to write lots of stories in that, there is no point. Don't beat around the bush, just come to the point and use all those words and use all those information which is required. Okay, because if at all you are writing a complaint letter or something, write which is important, like your complaint number is this, your product number was this, you bought it on this date, rather than making all the stories. Seedha sa come to the point. Nobody has lot of time nowadays to read all these things. So body should be, though it should be formal at the same time, but it should be very short and pithy also. Use only necessary words, again I'm telling you, because the receiver has to read so many letters. He's not reading your only letter. Okay, he gets hundreds of letters every day. Now complimentary closure of the letter is very important, because you have to write, if you are writing letter to seniors, you will write yours faithfully, yours sincerely. Okay, if you are writing to somebody who is senior to you, then you better write yours faithfully. And if you are writing to somebody who is as same as your designation, then you can write yours sincerely. Okay, or thanks and regards, that's important. Then you can close your complimentary note. Okay, and the last part, which is mandatory part mein aata hai, is your signature. Okay, no designation, no address, these have already been mentioned. So without this, the letter does not have any value. You have to write your name, and you can sign it also. In case it is a hard copy, you can sign it. Otherwise, just writing your address, your name will be sufficient, because nowadays most of the communication that is happening is through emails. So you will follow that pattern only, because in most of the emails you won't be able to do the real signature that you actually have. Okay, so write your name and then say. That's it. These are all the mandatory part, because these part you cannot escape. In any letter you will have to have these things. But apart from these mandatory parts, there are some optional parts also. They are not necessary, but sometimes they can be added if the need be. Okay, so these are sometimes special notations, like sometimes confidential lines aa jati hai. That means this letter is confidential. तो आप क्या करोगे? You will email में तो ऐसा कर नहीं सकोगे. So email में तो that person only gets this thing, but in case you are writing a hard copy, so on the envelope only you will write confidential. It means that nobody can tamper with the envelope, because if it is tampered, the person who has received it can take a photograph of it that it has been tampered, somebody's opened it, and send it to the authorities that I have got this confidential likha hua hai, but still somebody has tried to open this part. Okay, it's very important. That means the person whose name is written should only read that, that person should only open that thing. Okay, it should be delivered in his hand only. Next is the attention line. Sometimes we write attention Mr. So and so. That means that person for whom the document is meant. Okay, it is usually written on a fax. Like जब भी fax होते थे ना, long time back, people used to have only one fax machine, and company used to send fax. तो अभी who will, किसको वो fax किसको address किया, तो वहाँ पे attention लिखा जाता था. Attention Mr. So and so. For example, you are sending letter to the head of department of BAMMC. So you will write HOD BAMC. So then people know that this letter is to go to that department. Attention line. Okay. Now, next very important part is the reference number. Now, this is a very unique number which is given to a letter so that you can facilitate the tracking, because kabhi letters mein what do? We have lot of communication. So you have to give the reference ki this is in reference to that letter. So all those letters which are related to the same topic, they are kept in one folder, so that you don't waste lot of time in understanding ki this letter belongs to which case. Got it? So this is very important, and in organization and big companies it is very important to give the reference number to facilitate the tracking of the letter. It becomes easy. Okay, so there can arise many occasions when one has to refer to an older letter of a client or a partner. So with the help of reference number, you can go to those file folders, you can go to the archives. Okay, whether it is manual or whether it is computerized, doesn't matter. Okay, you can trace that letter easily. Now, next optional part is the subject line. So it gives an idea what is the content about in not more than 3 or 4 words. Try to be very short and crisp in your subject line, because जैसे अभी मैंने notice में I have just shown you कि this notice लिखा हुआ था, so they know this letter is going to talk about this matter. Okay, but there is no rule about the कि 10 words से ज़्यादा या 4-5 words से ज़्यादा नहीं होना चाहिए, but still try to make it very short. Okay, now next very optional part of the letter is enclosure. Sometimes in a letter you are enclosing so many photocopies or a document which had been asked by people. So you will write that the list of the document that is attached to the letter. In my previous lecture, I remember that I told you what are the different ways of in an email that the attached copy is enclosed here with the attached document that the requested document is attached. So different ways of writing those enclosure lines should be there. Or if you don't want to do anything, just write enclosure colon and then whatever things that had been included in that letter. Okay, like for example attendance sheet, your marks, internal marks, whatever, salary slip or जो भी आपने डाला है, whatever. You can also don't write the whole line. You can write enclosure, colon and all those documents, whether Excel है या PDF है, whatever. Then we'll go to CC notification. It is important that sometime carbon copies are sent. Same thing, same words are sent to another people also, whether it is a hard copy of a letter or whether it is an email. You want to send the same thing because you don't want to get into trouble later on. Sometime some people may say, oh, I did not get this email. So at least you will send those copies to the higher authorities to make sure that they also know that these copies have been sent to so and so person. Okay. Now because of email mein to there is no problem. You can send it to as many people as you want, whosoever is concerned with the topic. Okay. Now okay, sometime in this there is BCC also, emails case mein. What is a BCC? BCC is a blind carbon copy and there is a role to perform. For example, to all those people you have sent BCC, the people who have been sent CC and to the recipient, those people will not be visible. And if your name is in the BCC, for example, I have sent an email where I have sent the email to a person A. I'll write it here. I will just give me 1 second and change the ink and I'll write it for you because it is very important. People get confused here. I'm talking about what is BCC. So here I'm sent, recipient is A, CC is B and C. Now BCC में मैं जो भी भेजूंगी ना, they could be E, F, G, H. For example, these are the people. Now E person will not be able to see who else have been sent this mail. कि G को भी गया, H को भी गया, उसको नहीं पता चलेगा. Even B from here will not know कि इन सबको मेल गया है. Okay. Even the C will not know कि इन सबको मेल गया है. Even A will not know. A will only know कि CC किसको गया. Understood? A will know कि B को गया है, C को गया है CC. B को ये भी पता है कि recipient was A and C को भी गया है. But ये वाले hidden है. They are blind carbon copy. Even blind में भी they don't know each other. H को नहीं मालूम है कि G को मेल गया है, F को गया है कि E को गया है. All right? So that's sometime it is very important to know this rule. Okay. Now we'll move ahead. Sometime when you have written the whole letter, typed the whole letter, and you recollect and a point that you wanted to add, so you may not be interested in redrafting the whole letter, so you can write postscript after the letter is written. That means it is understood that this idea has come to you after finishing the whole letter. So you will write PS and colon. Most of the time how do we write? PS colon. जो भी आपने लिखना है उसके बाद, that means after finishing the letter आपके mind में ये बात भी आ गई है and you wanted to include, and you did not have time to change the full drafting of the letter, so you will write postscript. ठीक है? But if you have got time, you can redraft the letter also. Okay? But since this facility is accepted, so nobody does it. Nobody does it because who will redraft the letter? Next point is the initial. So initials, these are the initial of the person, either who dictates the letter or who takes it down, who writes it basically, who takes the dictation. Now dictator's initials are given in capital letter, and the person who takes the note or who is taking the dictation and then typing this letter, there they are in the lower case. So at least पता चलता है if there is a grave mistake in a letter, so these initial will help in identifying the person whose error is it. Okay. Now we'll move on to see how many types of sample letters. So this is a sample letter. All these things you can see, there are some of these things are mandatory, some of them are optional. I am going to tell you what are the things which are mandatory. All these are mandatory things. In this letter you will not find anything which is optional. Okay, see, your address is very important, which is here. They have already given, this is your address. Then see how they have written the date to avoid the confusion. See, डेट में क्यों ऐसे लिखते हैं? बिकॉज देर आर 12 मंथ्स, और अगर डेट 1 से 12 तक के बीच में है तो इट समटाइम गेट्स यू कैन गेट कन्फ्यूजन कि वेदर इट इज़ अ डेट और वेदर इट इज़ अ मंथ. नाउ इट इज़ वेरी क्लियरली अंडरस्टूड. अगर इस डेट को हम लोग 21 अप्रैल को ऐसे लिखेंगे, नोबडी विल गेट टू नो कि, क्योंकि 21 मंथ नहीं होता है, तो एटलीस्ट इतना तो मालूम चल गया कि ये डेट है एंड ये मंथ है. बट सम टाइम देर आर डिफरेंट. अमेरिकन वे ऑफ राइटिंग में कहाँ मंथ यहाँ आ जाता है, डेट यहाँ आ जाता है, सो देन देर इज अ कन्फ्यूजन. सो टू अवॉइड दैट कन्फ्यूजन, प्लीज गो विद दिस फॉर्मूला. You will never get caught. Next, this is the person who is going to receive the letter, to whom you are writing. You are writing the designation. See, this is the designation. Then name of the organization, पूरा उसका address, then place. Then, dear Mr. Gupta, I said salutation and greeting is very important. Or you can even write Mr. Gupta. Then subject line. It should not be more than 4 to 5 words, but in some cases it can go to exceed up to 10 words also. Now this is in reference to. ये important है यहाँ पे. Notices में नहीं लिखोगे. Notice में hereby this is in reference नहीं लिखना है. Notice में और भी short लिखना होता है. Now right now since we are talking about letter, so we'll write this is in reference to. Now whatever is your detail, you will write it. This may vary according to your letter. Now this is complimentary closure, thanking you, yours faithfully. In case you are writing to senior, in case you are writing to your immediate people who are your peer, you can write sincerely. Then your name, your designation, signature if required. So this is called a sample. You understood? And it is very important to know this format. Got it? Let's go here. So here you will see there are certain things. In the previous letter, everything was mandatory. You cannot escape even a single thing from here. Now in this slide, you may find there are certain things which are optional. For example, first thing that is optional is, where is the pen? One second. You can see this is an optional thing. Okay, enclosure is an optional thing. Got it? Then attention, isn't it? Attention line, अगर यहाँ पे बीच में और भी ऊपर होता है, यहाँ पे लिखा होता है ना confidential, then that is also confidential is written on the top always. क्योंकि यहाँ पे लिखने के बाद तो मतलब ही नहीं है ना. That means letter has been already opened. सबसे पहले confidential लिखा होना चाहिए, so that this cannot be opened. That most of the time it is written on the envelope where यहाँ पे लिखा है ना, यहीं पे लिख देते हैं, फिर address ही लिखा होता है, so that nobody can tear it open. अगर इसको थोड़ा सा भी कुछ somebody has tried to fidget with this, the person जिसका नाम यहाँ पे है, to whom it was sent, that person can complain कि this was a confidential letter but somebody has tried to open it. So in this here you can see there are so many optional things. Confidential है, attention line है, reference number है यहाँ पे. I think इस letter इसमें नहीं दिया, but then ये रहा, ठीक है. This is your reference number. Got it? Then subject line is also an optional thing. Enclosure was an optional thing. Then CC यहाँ पे है क्या? Okay, यहाँ पे तो नहीं दिया हुआ है. It's okay. Now let's move ahead. This was a place where you understood what are the optional part of the letter and what are the mandatory part. Now let's go ahead and see that sample consumer complaint letter कैसा होता है. Again, you will be writing your address here, as I told you, your city, then date का हमेशा format याद रखना. To avoid the confusion, you will write 21st Feb 2022. Now name of the contact person, उसका designation, company का नाम, वहाँ का address and city, and then contact person. Now on date I bought, or had repaired, जो भी है आपका whatever your complaint is about, whether you bought something or repaired, a name of the product जो आपको लिखना है, with the serial number, to or service number performed. So I made this purchase at, कहाँ पे आपने खरीदा, date कौन सा था, other important details of the transaction you will be writing here. Unfortunately your product has not performed well, for the service was inadequate, because state आपका reason, whether the project was broke, आप अपनी मर्जी से लिखोगे, because जो आपकी complaint है that will change, that will vary according to each and every complaint. Okay, whether it was broken, whether it stopped working after 2 days, whatever. ठीक है. To resolve the problem, I would appreciate that जिसका भी आपको नाम लिखना है, your mechanic or this, enclose are copies. ठीक है, enclosure यहाँ पे भी लिखा है, but यहाँ पे enclose लिखने की बजाय अगर इस person ने यहाँ पे enclosure लिखा होता तो वो ज़्यादा दिखता, more visibility है ना. So not original. Photocopies you are mentioning that you are sending the photocopies. ठीक है. So this is a sample. So now these are the closing line. I look forward to your reply and resolution to my problem. I will wait for 1 week before seeking third party assistance. So you are telling that person that you will wait also, so that they are forced to take an action, because otherwise they may take months and months. So you will say, you will wait for 1 month, you will wait for 1 week or 15 days before taking third party assistance. So that person is forewarned that you are not going to let them go just in case they don't respond. Please contact me at the above address or the phone number. This is sincerely your name. Now, ऐसा letter if you have written, what could be the response, sample response letter भी होना चाहिए ना from the company. So this is the sample response. This is a sample. Now date, your first name, address, this, title. Then I am writing to let you know that we have completed our investigation of your privacy complaint number in. Now जो भी आपका वो था वो लोग लिखेंगे, आपका जो भी प्रॉब्लम है. This can vary according to the letter. ठीक है, बट ये आपको मैं इसलिए दे रही हूँ, एटलीस्ट यू कैन हैव दिस फॉर्मेट रेडी विद यू एंड यू कैन राइट इट. ठीक है. नाउ दिस इज मेडिसिन, ये दिस इज लाइक डिपेंड्स ऑन योर प्रॉब्लम कि आपको क्या लिखना है. नाउ हाउ आर यू गोइंग टू क्लोज योर लेटर? थैंक यू फॉर ब्रिंगिंग दिस issue to my attention. I hope it has been addressed to your satisfaction sincerely, and then जो भी आपका है. ठीक है. This is how the companies, they will respond to your letter. Understood? Now let's go ahead. Sometimes there are letters of adjustment by the companies. Okay, when companies they get to know that yes, there had been something, for example, sometime they may fix, sometime like last letter हमने पढ़ा, so उसमें क्या होता है, they may do something like they may adjust it कि आपका इतना गलत हो गया, so we are going to do some adjustment in your letter, in your transaction. So उसमें होता है they are trying to settle the claim. ठीक है. That is called the adjustment letter. It is very important, and adjustment can be done in two ways: by sending a check or by reserving the amount for a future order. अभी अगर उसने कोई घड़ी खरीदी and it is not working, something like that, either that company will send that money back. This is one way of adjusting the settlement or settling the account, or they may send you that credit note of that rupees. For example, 20,000 का आपने watch खरीदा from the company and it is not working, so they may give you a 20,000 का credit note and they can tell you come anytime and buy another watch from there. So that is called a adjustment letter. Now you read this adjustment letter. Now this company यहाँ पे letter head डाला हुआ है. That means ये आपको मालूम चल गया कि किसने कौन भेज रहा है. This is the sender, Bangladesh Textile Mills Limited, Narayangyong, Dhaka. Now date very clearly mentioned. यहाँ पे marketing manager this ढाका, ये उनका पूरा एड्रेस हो गया. Now उन्होंने रेफरेंस नंबर भी, योर लेटर डेटेड दिस. डियर सर, वी थैंक यू फॉर योर लेटर of 5th Feb, this along with the sample of cloth for examination. The report that we have received just today shows that the consignment forwarded to you was the wrong one, full of defective clothes. It was a mistake because of our dispatch section, and we regret this mistake, which has caused you both embarrassment and inconvenience. We have already sent the replacement by a passenger train. You can be sure of the quality of the cloth now sent. Okay, now you can of course return the clothes to us and debit our account for the loss caused to you. We again regret the inconvenience to you and assure that such mistakes will be avoided in the future. Your faithfully this. So this is called a letter of adjustment. Got it? Now sometime there can be letters of consumer grievance letter, which which are very important for, these are also, for example, you have bought some product. इस letter में क्या लिखा हुआ है? This type is not clear actually. So basically, what happened, you have bought something, whether it is tangible or intangible. Sometimes you buy services, but then you later on find out it is of no use, so many times consumers are taken for a ride by these types of leaders and find themselves helpless as the seller refuses to help them. So what will happen, you can write a letter which is called consumer grievance letter. So no consumer is helpless today. Consumer is the king, it. Okay, so you will be writing letter to the consumer. See, first of all, you will write to the company. When they don't respond, what will you do? You will write to the consumer cell. That letter is called a consumer grievance cell. Now thanks to the Consumer Protection Act of 1986 onwards, we have become we have been able to get our rights back. For example, most of the time we get our money back also. So this act has given consumer right to protect from being cheated or exploited. So the government actually has established consumer right protection bodies at various district, state and national level, and you can approach them at the Consumer Dispute Redressal Forum. Got it? Now this forum has the authority to deal with the cases where the value of the good is it does not exceed 5 lakh rupees. Okay, now it comprises president and 2 members, and an application is to be addressed to the president always. Okay, the next body in the hierarchy is the state commission, and then it can deal with the cases whose value is not more than 20 lakhs. Okay, and uske above the National Commission entertain cases amounts which exceeds rupees 20 lakhs. से ज़्यादा का होगा तो it will be going to the National Commission. Okay, and the complaint must be filed within 2 years of justice denied by the dealer. अगर उससे ज़्यादा time हो जाता है then you cannot. So you have to, as soon as you are having problem and you have written the letter to them, and they are not addressing your issues, so with those proofs and copies you can write to the consumer court consumer grievance letter. Okay, so I have written a sample, I have taken a sample letter here. So that means this person must have written to the companies, then he must not have got a good response, so he's writing it to the consumer cell. That's the hierarchy you will be following. Now you see, again he has written his own address, whatever, then the date is very clearly mentioned, then this is the address, dear Mr. Smith, and this is reference with on March this I bought a sofa model this serial number this. You have to give all these details. It is very important. because otherwise क्या करेंगे, they will not be able to do anything if you don't have these things. So that is why it is important that you keep your e-bills and your other bills very safe till the expiry date. Okay, now or sometime even if you don't have, because you have paid through a credit card, so you will have that account in your bank also. So you have bought this on this date, you are mentioning it. Unfortunately your product has not performed well because the sofa is defective, one of the leg is broken off, this. So whatever is your case, you will write it to resolve the problem. ये important paragraph है, you can use it in any of the letters to resolve the problem. I would appreciate if your company would pick up the sofa की जगह कुछ और भी हो सकता है, whatever is your case, for refund of the money that I have paid, and closed are the copies of my record including my receipt, this. I look forward, ये भी important paragraph है because you can reuse this paragraph anywhere. I look forward to your reply and a resolution to my problem, and will wait until this much before seeking help from my state consumer protection officer, tick, like this, sincerely this is, and enclosure देखो यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है, these are enclosures. Got it? So these are the, this was the sample of a grievance letter. Let's move ahead. We also have RTI letter. Sometime we may be writing letter to the people, telling them that right to information under 2005 Act, है ना? In this letter you want to know more about the something that has happened. Got it? So the Right to Information Act, which was passed in the year 2005, it was important because you know, sometimes people were harassed because they could not ask for any information which was insider information. They were not able to have that information. So now the common man was helpless at that time. They used to get exploited. So this act was passed so that common citizen of India, they have this right to know. Okay, like for example, a retired government employee could not expect to get his pension even after completing all the formalities. Okay, so he has a right to information कि what has happened to his pension, why is not, earlier क्या होता था, bribes दो तो उसको सारा कुछ मिलता था. Now he can directly complain to कि I have got retired on this and this date, and I have done all my formalities, but still I have not, so I want to know what is happening, why the delay is there. So he has got the right. ठीक है? So so it is very important to know everything, because in public domain it was impossible earlier to expose if there was any nexus between the people in the company. Now they are, if the corporates and the politician, everybody has to answer, they have to provide the information to the people, so that common people, otherwise वो nexus होता था उनका पता भी नहीं चलता था, and poor people we used to suffer, right? So this is a sample of a right to information letter. So for example, information, but subject में हमेशा आपको लिखना पड़ेगा information under RTI Act 2005. So reference your repeal dated this. In this connection your attention is invited to para 3 of your letter. So जो भी है आपको information मांगना है, you will be writing. For example, give me 5 minutes, daddy. Okay, so this is the letter, and this letter has to be very precise. You cannot be writing extra information here, only the things which are needed, only that much, and try to write in a bullet point number 1, point number 2, point number 3, 4, 5, etc., so that they know these are the things that you want. Because these types of letter, they go to the government departments, or they get thousands of such letters. They won't be reading the paragraphs. If you are writing in numbers, point number 1, point number 2, so then they know what are the things that you have asked for. Okay, point by point information. So this leads to clarity. to the letter. To remove any scope of information, provider has to hide behind obscurity of the letter's content. The writer must mention in what forms he wants the information, whether he wants the information in the hard copies or the soft copies. Okay, these are the ways. Please, you can take a screenshot of this, and in case you are interested, I will send you more samples like this. And with this note, I'm going to end today's letter. I think that was all for today. Have a good day. Bye bye.
Bye, ma'am.